In March of 2014, we spent some time along the Michigan line after a snowfall. On the afternoon of the 14th, Amtrak 350 was arriving at Jackson Station with a train of 4 Superliner coaches. Since the plumbing on the Horizon coaches tend to freeze when temperatures drop, Superliners are sometimes used on the Michigan line in the winter months. At the time this video was recorded, Brian Karhoff, the man seen wearing the high-visibility vest, was Jackson's lead station agent. Karhoff was hired on in 1974 and retired in 2018, spending 44 years with Amtrak at Jackson Station. The conductor on the train that morning was our friend Mike Kay. It was his first day as lead conductor on the Wolverine. Hey Mike, it's going good.
Watch the lady block, good videos.
Yeah. There we go. See you later. Bringing up the rear of the train was one of Amtrak's Sightseer lounge cars. These cars are available to ride on most Amtrak long-distance trains and are a popular place to grab a quick snack, unwind, or meet new people. The upper level offers a more dramatic view of the passing scenery with wraparound windows. Inside Jackson Station, the Christmas decor was still on display. For many years, Ed Rutkowski, the station's unofficial historian, would set up a large Christmas tree in the center of the waiting room for several months. He, along with several other volunteers, would also set up lights, wreaths, mistletoes, and other Christmas decorations for the enjoyment of passengers. Unfortunately, in recent years, Amtrak put a stop to the Christmas decorations and cited liability concerns. After taking a look inside Jackson Station, we watched as the train crew helped a passenger board Wolverine number 353. The train would depart shortly after 1:30 p.m., running a few minutes behind schedule. With train 353 on its way to Chicago, we decided to head west to Battle Creek, where Amtrak train crews swap trains. From the station platform at Cereal City, USA, we watched as Amtrak Wolverine 352 slowly came to a stop. Beginning in the late 1970s, Conrail and Grand Trunk Western partnered with the state of Michigan and the city of Battle Creek to consolidate main lines. The project eased congestion downtown by moving all train traffic to one railroad line. By 1982, the transition was complete, and Amtrak opened its current depot between McCamley Street and Capitol Avenue. Amtrak and Norfolk Southern trains operate over Canadian National Railway's main line using trackage rights. Note that Train 352 was using the standard Wolverine passenger car equipment as opposed to the Superliners. About an hour after Train 352 departed for Pontiac, eastbound CN train M39491 took its turn through downtown. It had a unique consist, which included a freshly painted Savage SW1500 and two former Burlington Northern SD60Ms. To our surprise, 1 year after seeing GP50 number 7004 on the work train, we caught Road Train 38E on the night of November 12, 2014, with GP50 number 7010 leading the train into Jackson. The trailing locomotives were equally exciting, with the second unit being High Hood GP38-2 number 5027 and SD90 43 Mac number 7287. The massive 90 Mac was acquired by Norfolk Southern from Union Pacific in September of 2014 due to a power shortage. It was rebuilt by NS as an SD70 ACU in 2017 and was sold 4 years later to Progress Rail in February of 2021. This was the last time we ever saw a GP50 high hood leading a train on Norfolk Southern. The following day, we returned to Jackson Yard to document train B16, which was being pulled by a rare GP59. Norfolk Southern 4641 was set up to run long hood forward. At the time, Norfolk Southern's GP59s were unique in that they were among only a handful of low short hood units to be set up for long hood forward operation. The EMD GP59 is a 4-axle locomotive built by the Electromotive Division of GM between 1985 and 1989. Power was provided by a 12-cylinder EMD 710 G3A diesel engine, which could produce 3,000 horsepower. This locomotive shared the same common frame with the EMD GP60, giving it an overall length of 59 feet 9 inches. It featured a 3,700 US gallon fuel tank. Only 36 examples of this locomotive were built, including 3 demonstrators. Norfolk Southern placed the only order for the GP59 and also acquired the 3 demonstrators, which featured a unique aerodynamic cab. Since this video was recorded, Norfolk Southern has rebuilt all of the GP59s. Number 4650 was the first to be rebuilt and was designated as a GP59E in March of 2013. The rebuilt locomotives feature new microprocessors, all new electrical cabinets with Smart Start, rebuilt prime movers, split cooling systems designed by Norfolk Southern, LSL, and upgraded electronic brake valves. In the winter of 2014 and 15, we caught train 39E twice on rare daylight movements. Here, on January 8, 2015, we recorded the train passing the Stone Michigan Central Railroad Depot at Grass Lake. The railroad arrived at Grass Lake in 1842. The town actually relocated when the railroad found cheaper land to the west. The town's first depot was wooden, but the rural community quickly outgrew that depot. In 1887, Michigan Central constructed the current depot, which only took 6 months to build. The 2,000 square foot stone structure was built in the Richardsonian Romanesque Revival style of architecture and features a high-peaked roof and stained glass windows. According to a local legend, the fancy depot was built by mistake. As the story goes, a group of railroad officials were traveling between Detroit and Jackson shortly after the depot opened, when one of them shouted to stop the train just beyond Grass Lake. After the engineer backed up to the depot, the man reportedly pulled out company blueprints, studied them for a few moments, and said, "My gosh, they built this depot in the wrong place." The right place was likely Niles, Michigan, where a large stone depot of the same style was built by the same firm, Spear and Rons, in 1892. Almost exactly 1 year prior, we documented 39E as it dashed through the snow in Chelsea, Michigan on January 8, 2014. Note the wooden depot to the left. Built in 1880, the depot is the only known example designed by the well-known Detroit architectural firm of Mason and Rice. On February 23, 2015, we chased train B-22 from Jackson to Albion. On this date, B-22 was led by GP38-2, number 5337, which was painted in the Operation Lifesaver scheme. At CP Albion, the train was given a medium approach signal. B-22 stops to work several industries in Albion and was headed for the Andersons elevator west of town. These Conrail-era tri-light signals were replaced by a modern LED cantilever-style signal later that year. This was the last train we documented going by the Conrail style signals before they were replaced by Amtrak.
Detroit, Royal, Troy, and Pontiac is now arriving on track number 2. Eastbound train for Detroit, Pontiac, and scheduled intermediate station stops now arriving on track number 2.
On the afternoon of February 25, 2015, Amtrak Wolverine 350 operated with a unique arrangement of locomotives and superliner coaches. We were on site to see the train's arrival at Jackson. On the night of February 24th, P42DC number 34 suffered from melted brakes and was sidelined at Pontiac. As a result, Amtrak decided to run a hospital train by attaching 2 P42s and 2 superliners to the rear of Wolverine 350. The Wolverine would drop them off in Pontiac on the night of the 25th to bracket locomotive 34. The reason for sending the 2 superliner coaches was so that the train would have more braking ability. More coaches equaled more brakes. The hospital train ran late into the night as Norfolk Southern symbol 963, arriving in Chicago on the morning of the 26th. On March 7th, we decided to ride Amtrak from Ann Arbor to Kalamazoo and back. We boarded the early westbound train 351 at 7:40 a.m., which was pulled by 2 P42DCs. Ann Arbor is the most popular station on the Amtrak Michigan line and averages about 155,000 passengers every year. Many of these riders are students from the University of Michigan. In Kalamazoo, we deboarded the train and set up our cameras at North Church Street. Kalamazoo is home to Western Michigan University and is the second most popular passenger station in Michigan, with an average ridership of 120,000. After filming our train as it departed Kalamazoo, We visited BO Tower to capture Amtrak's Blue Water Service train number 365 arriving at Kalamazoo Station. Milepost 143.3 is where Amtrak takes ownership of the former Michigan Central Main Line to Porter, Indiana. Amtrak took ownership of this segment in 1976 upon the startup of Conrail. Michigan Central's Botsford or BO Tower was opened on October 2, 1914. The tower was named after the Botsford Paper Mill Company, which located its tracks east of downtown in 1892. Michigan Central built a new yard to handle the paper mill traffic around 1904. It too was named Botsford and is still in operation today. The 44-lever interlocking tower was responsible for handling trains on the Grand Trunk Western, New York Central, and Pennsylvania railroads, as well as an interurban line. The present-day lines are operated by Watco's Grand Elk Railroad and Amtrak. Watco renamed the yard to Gearhart a few years ago after a longtime retired railroader. In 2018, we interviewed historian Graydon Mintz, the author of Railroads for Michigan, to learn more about BO Tower. Mintz actually worked at BO in the late 1950s.
Oh, I bet I worked there a dozen times over the years. To me, it was probably the best interlocking tower to work in. It was a challenge. We had yard engines going around town. We had 3 or 4 shifts of yard engines going here, there, and the other place. They all had to be shuttled in between because the airline had been partly torn up, so all the freight traffic came through Kalamazoo, and you had all the passenger trains, and to keep all of it from flowing, it was a challenge. It was a challenge, but I always liked BO. It was just a good job to work, and we had good people and good crews to work with, and I remember looking out the tower window out to the south across the main line, and there was a long white building out there, and I always wondered, it's funny, that looks like a passenger station. And lo and behold, it was at one time. There was a place, a depot across the tracks from BO Tower called Kalamazoo Junction. And passengers changed trains from the Michigan Central to the GR&I through that depot. When I worked on the railroad, the signal department had it. And it's gone now, but kind of kitty corner across the diamond at BO Tower was the roundhouse for the Lakeshore and Michigan Southern. And that's still part of it there yet, behind Bell's Brewery.
At the time this video was recorded, BO was one of only 2 manned interlocking towers remaining in Michigan, with the other being on CSX rails at Delray, just outside of Detroit. It was also the oldest still in use within the state. Norfolk Southern personnel operated the tower until it was closed on October 24, 2016, when Amtrak took over dispatching of the Michigan line. The interlocking was upgraded to remote control so that the junction could be operated by the Amtrak train director in Chicago. After closing, several preservation efforts began with the intent to move the tower to another location.
So something like this is a vital piece of our history, not just to Kalamazoo and Southwest Michigan, probably to the Midwest in our country.
Nate Hatton, a train conductor working to save the tower, says up until recently the tower was still used.
Up until 2016, there'd be a tower operator in the tower controlling train movement throughout Kalamazoo. Now everything is controlled remotely out of Chicago.
MDOT now owns the tower and says it is open to having it restored, but anyone who saves it would have to pay to relocate it because the tower sits too close to the tracks.
We're pretty hopeful that we could get maybe the community involved, maybe some local businesses, people interested in preserving this vital piece of history that we have here.
Hatton would like to see the tower moved to another section of track in Kalamazoo and turned into a park where people can come and watch the trains.
A lot of these towers around the country have been repurposed as museums and campuses, places where the community can come together.
While hope is still alive, the future of the tower remains unknown, with MDOT planning to schedule it to face the wrecking ball in 2020.
Their timeline is early next year. If we don't come up with a solution, they're going to want to tear it down.
On Tuesday, December 28, 2021, the structure was demolished. After catching train 365, we boarded eastbound Wolverine 352 for our return back to Ann Arbor. We were happy to ride in the seasonal Superliner coaches, which made for a unique experience. At Ann Arbor, we debarked and recorded the train's departure. Note the plume of black exhaust fumes as the train accelerated out of town. On February 18, 2021, we recorded Amtrak Wolverine 352 departing Jackson Station in the middle of a snowfall. This was taken during our most recent visit to the Michigan line. We hope to bring you many more videos from this important rail corridor and hope you enjoyed our extensive look at its operations. Thank you for watching Delay in Block Productions. Until next time, happy railroading.